Welcome everybody, it's Unstoppable Stelezzi with another Age of Mythology Retold casted match from the Deities of Death clan. So this time it's going to be Deities of Death Jollyman going against Chemo. And the map is going to be Tundra, so very good map overall for your food pretty much. So let's give this match a go and see what happens, alright? On this side we got Jollyman as Ra. A very strong Egyptian major god indeed. Really good with peak efficiency, since not only can your pharaoh empower the buildings, the priest can as well, with a bit of a reduced rate, right? Because the pharaoh is like full power, the priest's empowering ability is about 60% of him. And there's another cool thing too, if you empower a monument, you can actually empower all the buildings within this blue ring over here as well. Again, by 60% of the pharaoh. So, you know, not only do you have your pharaoh empowering stuff, but you have all these sort of little subordinate empowerings going on at the same time, which makes all your buildings just work that much better. It's really nice. And then on the other side, we have Nuwa, one of the new Chinese major gods. Nuwa is really good for economy, in particular over time because of her Auspice ability. The more favor you earn, the cheaper your villas become, as well as the strength of your buildings goes up. So it becomes a lot harder to rush your base, right? Your buildings are going to be sturdier, town centers, all that. And then if you do lose villas in a raid, you're going to be able to replace them for a very cheap amount of food. So that's really good. Some other cool stuff too with Nuwa is basically when you put a building up, it has +1 in the radius of favored land that it's going to extend out, which is great. But I will say one thing which is kind of interesting about both Ra and Nuwa. They actually kind of share as kind of a similar bonus as each other. In it, Egypt has 15% more HP on their mid-goal units, thus all the mounted stuff, all the cavalry. And then you see something similar with Nuwa, where she has a 10% boost on her cavalry from her Balogi fortress. So it's kind of like they're almost both really pushed towards doing a lot of cavalry stuff almost. So we'll probably see a lot of mounted units this game. I can almost guarantee that pretty much, yeah. Looks like Nuwa is making her Kwafu chieftain. It's something only available to her. Basically it's a Kwafu, but it's also a hero. So it's going to have the ability to fight off myth units a bit better, and it's going to be a really good boost to your economy. And the best part is if you lose them, you can get them back as well, so that's really good. Yep. Right here we see all peasant production. That's typically what you see in a Chinese build order, is mostly peasants, just so you can get enough food to age up with. And then you mostly alternate between Kwafus and peasants a whole lot once you get into the later ages, right? Whereas for the Egyptians, you're kind of doing all sorts of stuff. The most important thing I think you have to realize with your Egyptian build orders is the fact that you're going to need gold, since you don't really pay any wood for your buildings, unlike you do for the other civs. With the Egyptians, you end up paying gold to build things like temples, barracks, that sort of thing. And then of course too, you have a lot of buildings in Egypt that are actually free, ones you don't even have to pay for, like anything to do with the drop-off site, like a granary, a mining camp, a lumber camp, also houses. Yeah, that's really neat, because with Egypt you have the possibility of like surrounding all of your towers with houses totally for free, like a free wall around them. It's really nice that way. But yeah, we see a granary over here to get some of these hunts going. And after that, we'll probably see these two try to pursue the next stage. It looks like Egypt already is, as well as China. China's going up with Huatu. This is a very defensive minor god for the Chinese, because you can put up the earthen walls with their god power. A nice way to basically surround a building with a nice big giant rock wall that protects it. And you don't have to pay for gates on it either, because it's already set up for when you walk towards it. The sort of the rocks go down, lets you walk through, and then it goes back up again when you leave, which is really nice. Looks like the technology abundance is being researched from Huatu. Blesses your drop sites on favored land, improving the resources earned from each deposit. So while you might only get a certain amount of resources from a given mine or animal, that ability is basically going to ensure that you get even more resources than what was initially on the thing, probably at the end of the day, especially if it's a static thing like a mine that, doesn't deteriorate, or something like a berry bush even. And then it looks like on this side Pattaya was the choice of Ra, because we can see the Wadjet right here. Wadjet's just really cool, beautiful looking cobras that can shoot venom at their enemies, so archer myth unit. Whereas the Kuangli is basically a melee myth unit. It's a tiger with wings. And believe it or not, you can actually have it set up in a mode where it can fly into the sky and sort of fly over trees, fly over rivers and stuff, and then land right down and attack stuff, which is really neat. Wow, using the hero Kwafu to build a town center already. Quite a bold move, honestly, but I like it. The sooner you get a town center in Age of Mythology, the better off you tend to be. It means faster booming of villagers, more map control, and unique to Age of Mythology, more population, right? Because unlike Age of Empires 3 and Age of Empires 2, you don't get a whole lot of population from houses alone, so the way that you expand it further is with town centers, right? If you have like 3 town centers, that's pretty good. If you can get 4, you're looking really good, so seeing Nuwa already with a second town center is quite an impressive thing for them right now. What else do we see right here? We see a priest setting up an obelisk right here from Ra. It's just a nice way to see what the enemy's doing, see if they're maybe going to move towards this town center yet, and perhaps you can intercept them somehow. That's really good. Now I'm just sort of paying attention to see what sorts of military they might do here. What might the start be? On both sides, well, this is something that's kind of interesting. This is something very similar between the Chinese and the Egyptians at large. They don't get any sort of cavalry in the early game, right? It's all infantry and archers, pretty much. With Egypt, you got your axemen for infantry, spearmen for cavalry, and then your slingers for archers, right? Sort of like a skirmisher from AoE 2. Oh, wait a second. Looks like Ra already went up to the heroic age and just put down the Citadel center there. Very good. It's basically the god power of Sekhmet, and it basically turns this town center that you stick it on into like a huge impenetrable fortress, pretty much. It's like much harder to take out a Citadel center than it is a normal TC. And her myth unit is the Scarab, which acts as a good siege myth unit. Does a lot of crush damage to buildings, which is really good. See, we already see the Midgul stronghold up here by Ra, and we see a siege works as well. So Egypt is moving very quickly into offense. I wonder what we're going to see. Are we going to see chariot archers? Yep, we're going to see chariot archers, it looks like. Good choice, too, since Sekhmet gets a technology that boosts chariot archers as well. So that's really good synergy there, I think. On top of the plus 15% HP as well. So what is China going to do with these chariot archers? I think probably your best bet's going to be Javelineers. It's literally a counter archer, so that should be a really good thing for that. You could potentially use this hero Kwafu too against the Scarab, since he is a hero. Does bonus damage to him. He is getting pretty grinded down though, so it looks like he is going to retreat. Chariot archers searching the perimeter for any gold miners there or any vills at all. Thankfully Nuwa already backed up, so doesn't have to worry too much about that. We do see an Imperial Academy here that could get out some more heroes. We like these pioneers. And what next? Okay, we see camels being added in as well. A bit early, I would say, but the thing you gotta realize about the camel riders is they're pretty flexible. Not only are they good against archers since they're a mounted unit, but they're also good against cavalry. They can carry cavalry as well. So very flexible overall of a unit to use. And looks like we got the Tua Wu here. Very powerful myth unit that the Chinese can do. It basically does this big speedy headbutt thing where it comes from like a long distance, speeds up and rams right into you and sends the units flying back. It's really powerful. See, yeah, he just did that, chariot archer. It really sent it spinning in the air. It's very powerful. And it looks like now the Nuwa has turned this town center into a forest protection one, which means when enemies come near it, they're basically going to get tied up by a bunch of roots that's going to slow them down and make it harder to siege the TC. I totally want you to take one of your Kwafus and repair this thing right now, because you don't want to lose it since you've already invested god power into it. It's kind of like losing a Citadel Center if you're involved with Sekhmet. It's just really bad because, as you know, god powers, the first one's free, which is really good, and then after that you have to pay so much favor to reuse those god powers again. So I really want to see Nuwa repair this thing as soon as possible. Ideally with the Kwafu, since Kwafus, as you know, build a lot faster than standard peasants. You want to take it very seriously. So what do we see here? We see more chariot archers. It's basically going to go for range raiding, it looks like. A lot of kiting. Yep, right on top of the peasant, takes out peasant. Looks like the chariots were too far away for the Twa-Wu to do its charge ability on it. Chariot archers doing a great job at picking off these heroes, right? Remember that human units have bonus damage against heroes, so chariot archers are a pioneer's worst nightmare. Oh man, oh wow, look at that knockout. Oh wow, that was beautiful. Good way to look at how much damage that did there. That was a lot of damage. Quite a lot of damage. Right? It's starting to get Sekhmet's technology, the bone bow right there. Basically, it improves their range and line of sight. So, if you're doing kiting with these chariot archers, now they're going to be able to fire their arrows from farther away and thus avoid what just happened right there with the Twa-Wu. You know, because they'll be able to back out a lot faster since you're shooting from farther away. Which is good. Also, we see, what else do we got here? More camels. Very nice. Looks like Vibrant Land is coming in from Guamang, one of the minor gods of Nuwa. This basically sets it up so you get trees around your houses and allows you to actually deposit the wood that you gather from, you know, all the trees at the houses. So you don't even have to build more of those silos. You can just use the house to drop off the wood, which is a really cool thing. You know what I mean? Because when you think of a wood bonus like that, you would be kind of skeptical and say, oh, wait a second, am I going to have to pay out all this wood to be able to put down the drop-off sites? And no, the devs saw that for you. They're just going to let you drop them off at the houses instead. Which is good. Oh, well, we got more raiding here by the Ra. I don't know what this means, though. I don't know what this means for the player here. One thing I will say, though, it looks like Ra is still on a single TC. That's the one thing that's keeping Chemo's score above that of Jollyman, is literally the fact that Chemo has the 2 town center boom, whereas Ra is just sticking to a defensive position of 1 TC. It's kind of that argument you always have in every RTS game, right? Do I sort of try to boom, or do I go for a 1 town center all-out type of a rush thing? And that's sort of what we're seeing the Ra do right now, is just sticking to 1 TC and just spamming chariot archers and camels, trying to puncture the defenses of the Nuwa and maybe take out as many gatherers as possible. They're doing a great job, by the way. Look at all those peasants. Oh, even got that one. That one didn't even make it. I was surprised by that one. That one was actually quite impressive. I was like, wait a second, is he going to get sort of in the town center or not? No, he got completely swamped. And because this was, oh man, trying to put up walls now, and then the siege tower just denies it. Yeah, remember the siege works that was put up to the mid-goal a little while ago. Now we're actually seeing the siege towers be made out of it. Yeah, I would try to watch out for all these chariot archers. Like, they're going to completely swamp your economy if you're not careful. Be very, very careful with that. But as I said before, the longer in the game that you go and you're collecting more favor, right? Your peasants are going to become cheaper in food, and then your buildings are going to become sturdier. So the more Nuwa can hold this out, the better they might be able to withhold whatever Ra is trying to do to them. You know, because it's going to take the siege towers even more time to take out one of these fortresses. It's going to take even more pressure to like swamp Nuwa's economy, since you can just retrain the vills again at a cheap cost anyways. So yeah, basically time is going to be on Nuwa's side the more she can get for herself. Oh man, we see Guangdong coming in. Now that's a pretty strong minor god. You get access to the Qinglong water dragons, really strong ranged dragon that fights from the skies, and then the god power, a literal flash flood, like a huge surge of waves that sends units flying. Very, very powerful. One thing I will say too is I'm pretty impressed that the China here, chemo is already in Mythic Age. That means that now they can actually start to get quarry in the other late game gathering rate text, which seems like they're doing. This means that the eco score of chemo is going to be inherently higher than Raw, since they're already maxing out their economy, whereas Raw is still sort of fighting in an earlier age. Looks like they didn't even pick up their shaft mining or their plow yet, so their eco is a little lackluster there. A little bit. Look at that flood. Look at what this flood does to you. It also damages units too, by the... Whoa. It actually... I thought it was going to puncture the citadel, but it basically wiped out houses, destroyed the armory almost. That's pretty big. Pretty big thing there. And now that China's sort of in the Mythic Age at this point, Nuwa can focus on her specialty, which is the 10% HP on her cavalry boost. So again, heavy cavalry, picking up the conscript Borlai soldiers. So basically now, we're probably going to see a lot of Tiger Cav, and the other cavalry unit as well that the Chinese do, to just swamp all these chariot archers. That's what my guess is. And all really the Egypt can do is try to add in camel riders to counteract that, with their sort of anti-cavalry bonus. It's basically be camels and chariot archers against Nuwa's cavalry, I can imagine. Alright, so we see some myth units here. This is a pretty smart move by the Nuwa, by the way. Built to dock to gain access to the water myth unit as well. That's really good. These one woo. Basically a big giant turtle that can shoot venom or whatever that green stuff is out of the snake in the back of its tail. It's really neat looking thing. And what's going on here? More chariot... no, camel raids. Camels. Stinky camels. Stinky camels are going to raid a Kwafu now. The good thing about Kwafus is they can fight back pretty well. I mean, they're literally giants that can throw rocks at you. They're not these little villagers that get completely destroyed. No, a Kwafu is going to be able to take a lot of sword slashes and arrows before he falls. The benefits of being a giant, after all. Also picking up farming upgrade there. Wow. Looks like Ra was pretty far behind on their farming upgrades, because now they're just getting the second one there. That's pretty bad, honestly. Yeah, we're also starting to see the armory upgrades come in from Nuwa. Just doing the copper ones right now. And then we'll probably see the bronze ones and the iron ones next. So moving along very quickly there, I see. Finally, going up to Mythic Age is Ra. Going with Horus. Has a big emphasis on the infantry. So maybe we'll see some spearmen, axemen, and slingers come in. Who knows? We see a Midgul going up too. It looks like a war here. Oh man, denies the Midgul. Very good move there by Nuwa. That's going to secure you a lot more map control now. That's a very good thing there. Because that Midgul would have surely controlled this TC. But now, Nuwa can actually come back and rebuild this thing. Which is really good. Very good, actually. Looks like Egypt does build their town center up there as well. And now we're going to see all this fighting in this area. Oh no, he's got priests. Watch out, watch out. You're going to lose your dragon now. Man, that's horrible. It's horrible when you lose your dragon. Yeah. Quite horrible. Looks like we got the camel riders fighting back with the priests and the chariot archers. Definitely is good that you have a Midgul here sort of holding the line though, because that Midgul is constantly pelting arrows into all those units, which is going to make it much harder for China to be able to fight when under that thing. China's got their powerful Jiang Xia hero there as well to help combat myth units. So, looks like that's a champion Tiger Cavalry Infantry. Basically, with Tiger Cavalry with the Chinese Major Gods, once the Tiger Cavalry dies, it turns into an infantry variant that can continue to keep fighting. Sort of think of the Conics from Age of Empires 2, with the Bulgarians, right? A cav that then becomes an infantry unit to increase its utility. And here we see lots of spearmen coming in from the Egypt now. Probably wants to save up on some of that food and gold, right? As you can tell, Raz doesn't have a lot of food right now. They're kind of starving right now. So they better consider saving their food up on spearmen and then combine that with the chariot archers with the wood and the gold. It looks like that's what we're seeing. We're seeing spearmen and chariot archers. Oh wow, look at that, using the sandstorm on them there. That's pretty... Oh no, that's the tornado. That's the tornado of Horus there. Wow, look at that. A literal tornado sending everything flying there. Think of the Wizard of Oz almost, except it's in Egypt. Oh yeah, exactly. Picking up carpenters now on the Chinese side. Spear of Horus. Horus lends spears his retribution, increasing their attack, allowing them to counter cavalry more effectively. So yeah, basically trying to destroy Nuwa's advantage as much as possible, going for really beefed up spearmen to try to make their cavalry that much more useless. Yeah, that's what I would probably do, honestly, in that case. Yeah. Looks like they got their general Li Jing out as well, using his special ability to stun stuff with that big giant pagoda thing. I don't know what that thing's called. What's that big thing where it shoots the light thing? I don't know. Probably look at it later. But yeah, it looks like Tiger Cavalry definitely advancing pretty well here. Yeah. Oh, the golden pagoda trap enemy. That's what I figured it did. I just needed a little bit of reassurance. Yeah, it's like a cool stun ability almost. Now we see more Tiger Cavalry coming in. They're going to be forced back by the spearmen, though, since that's what counters them. We see Tempestuous Storm coming in from Gong Gong. Grants your heroes his sense of timing, greatly reducing their ability cooldowns and costs. So now all those Academy units are just going to be that much better now. Looks like the Tiger Cavalry alone are holding the line kind of okay against the spearmen, I'm not going to lie. You know, considering especially since they're Horus spearmen, you think that they would kind of be performing a lot deadlier there, but nah, seems like they're definitely making them work. They're making them work. I mean, they're still losing, but they're making them work, though. Now we see our big giant turtle friend there, the Zhuangwu. But there are priests there, so I doubt the thing's going to survive now, right? Yeah, he's just going to sort of distract for a few seconds. And there we go, yeah. Now, this is interesting here. What's going on here? I see spearmen going towards that TC. TC is under attack for Nuwa. Spearmen are going to probably eliminate all those vills. Right, as I said before, it's not such a big deal since with your Offspice ability with Nuwa, you're going to actually be able to train them at a pretty cheap rate of food since you are late into the game at this point, you know? What tier are you at this point with the Offspice, the Creator's Offspice? So at this point, villagers are, or I should say peasants, I shouldn't say villagers, it's just one type of villager is 50% cheaper. So costs half. And the buildings are 20% sturdier too. And I see it can only grows from there pretty much, yeah. Here comes the Tiger Cavalry again, with some Fire Archers. The Fire Archers should pepper some of those Spearmen out of existence and actually allow them to reach the chariots and the priests, which is really what they're trying to do, you know. Best thing for the Tiger Cav is to be fighting mostly ranged stuff. So if you have a few Fire Archers in there to beat the Spearmen, that's going to make it go a lot smoother for you. That's all I can say about that. Yep, lots... Yep, and we still see more armory upgrades coming in from the Egypt as well. I saw there on the left side. Again, their shield now to make them a little bit more impervious to the archers. Tiger Cavalry reaching into the Egyptian base. That big goal is gone, but the siege works is up. Oh, trade. Yeah, it's about time that you start getting trade going. Yep, very good. So, yep, this is one of the cool things that Nuwa does, is buildings will begin to build themselves if you build them on favored land, which is really awesome. You know, so if you really need those villagers to do some work, you can actually leave the building alone. It'll build itself up slowly, though. If you need it to go up quicker, you'll need your vills there. But if you don't care when it goes up, you just want the building done a few minutes later, just sort of let it do its thing, and then you can worry about farming or mining or whatever, which is good. Yep. Here we see some Quinlong dragons. some Tiger Cavalry, and some Fire Archers. Very good. See that Midgall going down now. Very nice. Midgall is almost down, which is good. Beautiful. Barracks is going down now. Yep, good golden pagoda there to stun the spearmen and let the archers get a little bit more time with them. Very nice. All the Raw can do at this point is just hope that the spearmen will be able to hold up, right? Doesn't help when the Tiger Cavalry turns into infantry and starts doing better against them. That's probably what's messing them up so much, honestly. It's because you're not just fighting cavalry, you're also fighting infantry indirectly. Oh nice, we're starting to see the axe cart come out. These wonderful melee siege weapons there. Look, it just extends a big axe and then it just starts chopping from above. What a cool contraption that is, pretty much. Kind of like the Assyrian Rams almost, yeah. Really neat contraption. It's going to do that on that barracks now. Right there. I think the barracks can probably be eliminated. Yeah, I think the barracks will go down. Yep, something you can always do when you're dealing with siege. You can always run your villagers onto siege too, and they'll do a great job against them in general. Because you can see it right here. It has multipliers against siege weapons. Kind of similar to Age of Empires 2 and 3, where you often use vills to fight rams and stuff. Yeah, get that dragon out before the priests get him. Might be able to get out. Yep, looks like the dragon got out just in time. But he's probably going to have to pull them back until these priests are dealt with. Because he wants to get the most maximum damage off of them as possible. Right now, it looks like a bit of a stalemate because both sides are sort of holding their own ground. Both sides have about 3 town centers, so it's really anybody's game right now. Right. Theoretically, it looks like the Raw does have a lot more food, which is something worth looking at. Also, a lot more favor, too. So if they want to start making some Avengers, perhaps, or maybe some Scarabs, to get a huge advantage on the battlefield, they can actually do that. Yeah. We also see Egypt developing their trade route of some camels. China uses the mechanized ox to do it pretty much. Yep, get those fire archers working on the chariots now. Very smart. Tiger Cavalry on the vills. Really good. If you can deny them this gold mine and like stand on top of this thing almost, that's a great way to keep Egypt from doing their chariot archers, I think, and building forward. It's one of the curses Egypt has to deal with, you know. They have to actually pay gold to make farms, barracks, you name it. So if you can keep Egypt off the gold and disrupt their trade, Egypt is literally neutralized. Completely neutralized. Yeah. Yeah, in some ways it's better to, you know, not have wood costs on your buildings. In other ways, it's a total pain to deal with. Picking up the iron weapons, is that right, from Egypt there? Yep, starting to beef up their infantry, definitely. Also boosts up the chariots. What are we seeing here from the... That's a tiger. Yep, that's a tiger cavalry inf. Okay. So seeing that sort of wombo combo of fire archers with tiger cavalry is working pretty well. It's definitely kept the Raw from pushing in at all too deep. You know, I mean, it's been able to develop some sort of defensive... Oh, wow, took out some of the carts. That's not good. That's going to disrupt trade a bit. At least from the looks of it, looks like the Raw has more resources to work with. Also, we're seeing Tiger Cavalry trying to whittle down some of these chariots to keep them from growing too big. You don't want to have a million chariots at your doorstep kiting bills and grinding things down with their anti-infantry stats. So that's good that you're taking those out. Using the Tiger Cav to try to pressure the mid-goal. I don't think they'll stop it, but at least they'll disrupt the bills a bit. Now we're going to have to see what the final sort of tactic is going to be here from the Nuwa or the Ra and pushing the other person. Oh wow, looks like the town center was knocked out here. Very good for Ra. Very good for Ra. Nuwa will try to rebuild it though. They don't want to give that thing up because if Egypt gets a mid-goal here and protects this thing, that would put Nuwa on the back heel, and that would give Ra an ability to go after this area next and disrupt that area. So you basically need that town center to survive if you're Nuwa and keep it protected. At all costs, and I do mean all costs. It's not even a joke, you really gotta protect that thing. Iron Shield finally coming in for Nuwa to protect against the chariot archers, very good. TC will now provide some cover fire for all the units here. But unfortunately, you got a catapult on them because Egypt stuck a sneaky siege workshop right there to start cutting down that TC pretty much. I think the catapult could potentially get the TC out. Oh no, he's getting his Kwafu there to start repairing. Tiger Cav takes out one of the catapults. Needs to take out the other one though. We're going to stop the threat. Oh, he actually has to get some peasants on there too. Very good. Some Tiger Cavalry and Fire Archers going over here now, trying to find a position to attack from. You could potentially target this TC if you're Nuwa, I would say, because you just have to get this barracks down. This one's kind of torched already. Go for this TC, so you can cut their pop down a bit. Looks like that might be happening. We see one of the axe carts starting to roll around the corner here right now. As well as a Quingalong as well. One thing I will say though is interesting. Ra used the rain power. That's a very powerful one for your economy. It makes it so that all your villagers gather food from farms faster, which is really neat. Oh man, using the mercenaries. That's when you know you're in trouble. It's one of the emergency functionalities that the Egyptian major gods can use. They get a mercenary cavalry for more of like the archer situations, and then for cavalry they get the mercenary infantry, which is just a soldier with a zebra shield and a spear. Looks like the tower should be almost down. Looks like it, yep. Trying to set up an offensive on this mid-goal would be smart for saving your TC any more trouble. Does the X card actually reach the mid-goal? Yes it does, and actually gets a chop in, but does get denied. I wonder what it's going to take to get that mid-goal down and really push the advantage if you're Nuwa. Because otherwise you're going to keep having trouble in that area, I feel like. We see the catapult in queue there. Is the catapult coming up over here, or is it coming up on the other side? Trying to see where all the siege workshops are. Yeah, at this point all you can do if you're Ra is basically just set up a huge wall of like mid-goals to stop the Tiger Cavalry from coming in and eating your vills. Frenzied Dash. Guamang gives Twawus to dash faster and deal more damage. So that's going to be how Nuwa gets the job done. It's literally going to like charge right through their lines of chariot archers with those myth units and just send them all flying again like toothpicks. That could work. That could actually work really well. Axemen. What are the Axemen going to be used for by any chance? That might have just been an accidental click. Yeah, I was like thinking, how are you going to beat Tiger Cavalry with Axemen unless you're looking for something to deal with the Tiger Infantry that come from the Cavalry. Mid-goal is starting to get taken out slowly but surely from all these non-siege units. If you can get this mid-goal out and really start pressing this area, That's really how you save this town center and really start making an offensive difference. Man, look at all these villas getting wiped out now. This is good. This is what you want. Are they carry? Man, they're carrying gold. That's a valuable resource. That's a deployable resource. Good for you. Sadly for Nuwa, just doesn't have enough of a mass to deal with camels and spearmen. They're gonna have to group up a bit more if they want to push in that area. After that chaos with Ra earlier, it looks like they do put up a wall here. And they will put a siege works there too, potentially to start sniping these positions with catapults, which would be a pretty smart move on their part. Yeah, see, we're getting the ballista tower in for defense, but we're also seeing engineers come in too for Ra. So that siege weapons range and attack, especially against walls, is increased. Here comes the axe cart. Right on top of the mid-goal. Very smart move, actually. How much more until that mid-goal goes down? Well, it's getting whittled apart slowly but surely. He tried using a siege crossbow to hit from range, which I think was a pretty smart idea. But you're just gonna have a bit of an issue with all these spearmen running around in mass, taking out everything you put there. So you have to come up with something to get it done, I think, at this point. Yep, looks like it's mostly a fight to see who can maintain this battle. Right, who will burn out of what sooner. The Nuwa has a better trade route, it looks like, but Ra has a lot of saved up food though, a lot of reserves. Mainly because they're making the very budget friendly infantry compared to just all mid-goal stuff. If they wanted to, they could have went like full camel, chariot archer, elephant, but they wouldn't have any food or gold, so they have to kind of go for that budgety sort of spearman mass with some chariot archers in the back to sort of support them, if that means anything. Oh man, look at this. Look at the tower mass. Look at the tower mass here. Look at the massing of the towers. The tower mass is here, man. Look at all this. This is beautiful. Look at all these. It's Tower Wars. Tower Wars. That's what's happening right now. The Tower Wars. Yep. Looks like something happened over here, and China's not having it. They're gonna take that siege works out right now. Man, look at all these towers. Like, I think Nuwa's winning with the towers, even though the ballista towers are technically stronger. Also, siege crossbows coming in too to make it even more intense. Yep, that's exactly what you need, I think. Yep. Oh boy, look at that. Yeah, I think Nuwa won this one. They even put the force protection on one of the towers. So now if any sort of chariots or infantry comes through here, they're going to get tied up with the roots trying to push on it, and that's going to be really good. Mid-goal is almost down. It is being targeted by the siege crossbow. However, Vils are trying to repair it too, so it's not going to be quite that easy. You know, it's going to take a little bit more work, I think, to get that mid-goal down. Another powerful gold pagoda set up there by the general. Gave the fire archers enough time to shred a lot of that stuff pretty much. We do see mercenary cavalry coming out of the town centers too. But looks like how much siege are we at now? We got axe carts, we got siege crossbows. Is that enough to take out that TC? I think so. I think this TC is done. Just wait and see. Yep. Oh man, yeah, that TC is going down. It's going to be eliminated. Yes. TC is down. Egypt's army is shorter now since they're lacking that population. I think you're going to see a bit of a opportunity here if you're Nuwa. Completely shred Ra out of existence. Oh yeah. Basically. One thing I would do though is make sure I turn around with that axe card and take out that construction. But it doesn't look like it because, well, unfortunately, if you're Ra, you're completely surrounded. There's nowhere you can go. You're lacking that population now, and you know the axe carts are right there to take it out. It's like, I wouldn't blame you for GGing, honestly. I really wouldn't. No. So, for this, it looks like the Ra did have a really good army. The Ra army did get a lot of kills done, too. But it seems like the Nuwa was better in techs and economy. Yeah. Alright, so that was our casted game for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Definitely looking forward to doing more casted matches for the deities of Death Clan as well. If you have any sort of request for your clan or individually, I would love to cast for you as well. So, sign off now from this one. See you in the next one.